Hello, it's Shoaib here again with Media King, and I hope you guys are well today. It's summertime in the UK, so all the birds are singing and all the bees are flying, and it might be summertime where you are as well, just now, or you've had sun all year round. So let's continue. If you remember last time, we looked at the map group API, which is this here, and this helped us have less code by setting up a group of common endpoints with one URL prefix. So instead of to-do items complete, to-do items ID, to-do items get, etc., we just did our prefix at the top here, like this, into a variable called to-do items, and then we just use that variable and map each resource command to the end of it. So to-do items complete, get item by ID, post an item, etc., etc. And as promised, what we're going to be doing today is, in fact, before I go into that, the other benefits, as is mentioned here, is we could do single calls to require authorization and with metadata, which I did say we'll look at as well, and I haven't forgotten, but we'll leave that until later on, until we've done all the examples on this page. So the next one for today is use the type results API. So instead of returning result, we could use type result as the return type. As you can see here, we have typed result. Before we just had result. Okay, so and let's see. No, that's already built in. What we could do there is read a bit about this. It's got several advantages, including testability and automatically returning the response type metadata for Open API to describe the endpoint. And for more information, we can look at the link here. And it just means the map HTTP proverb calls the handler methods instead of using lambdas. So if you look at here before, internally, some of these will probably be using lambdas. Here's a lambda example here. It's a link type of command. And then to see the example, we've got some code here. So let's just look at a few differences here and what they talk about. So the results and type results static classes provide similar sets of result helpers. So this is when you're returning your results. You have these helpers. The type results class is the typed equivalent of result, except result helper return type is result, but typed results return type is one of iResult implementation, which is an interface. And they're saying here, which means result helpers okay, so for the result helpers, the conversion is needed when the concrete type is needed there. It converts. So, for example, in unit testing, and the implementation types are defined in HTTP results namespace. So returning type results rather than results has the following advantages. Type results helpers return strongly typed objects, which can improve code readability, unit testing, and reduce the chance of runtime errors. So we obviously want that. We don't want less typed objects. We want them to be more stronger, so we could know what our types are before runtime. We obviously want to improve code readability, so we can read our own code more easily, and others can too. We We also want our unit testing improved and reduce any runtime errors. So that's obvious stuff. And then the implementation, it says here, also automatically provides the response type metadata. Now that's this information which describes what your object's about, and in this case for the OpenAPI's metadata to describe each endpoint. Now that's quite useful because you want to be able to quickly see that data, that metadata for your endpoint. So they're giving some examples here. If you look at this 200 endpoint, it says the expected JSON response is produced, which is hello world. In order to document this endpoint correctly, the extension method of type result. So first of all, the extension method produces is called, which is this here. So they're saying at hello endpoint, return your 200 if it's successful with your message. Inside that text is hello world, and then the producers method is called. However, it's not necessary to call producers if type result is used instead of result. So with this type of command, you have to call producers message, but if you're using type results, you don't have to use producers method. Type results automatically provides the metadata for the endpoint. So this is it with type result here. You see the code is a bit shorter, and then inside there you'll see our metadata. Okay, so we could look at more of this later on. It's just a quick overview of the differences there between type results and results. There's obviously a lot more, and I want to come through and go through this later on. But let's get back to our main session here. So let us look at the type results API. So what we need to do, it looks like we just changed the code over again, and we can see we talked about the differences, some of the differences. We've talked about the benefits. So this time, instead of results, we're going to be changing our endpoints to use type results. So let me see if there's any other differences. Yes, obviously now everything is wrapped in a task method, which returns the interface I result, which was we've talked about, to help us use some of those inner benefits and other methods. So let's just copy this. Okay, these methods return objects. Yeah, we can see here. So now we call the methods instead of the lambdas, and the methods are called. Let's see inside. Okay. And then it says the methods returns the objects that implement a result and defined by type result, which is just what I've said. Okay, so in our code, let's go to Visual Studio. Now when I'm copying chunks of code, I like to zoom out a tiny bit. So I've done the map group API. Now we're going over to typed results API. So I'm going to select all of this, delete and paste. Now let me just undo, just to remind me what my I think I had to do's. Yep, plural. Let's change these over. The to-dos. Okay, we can see them on the to-do API. Let me just try to start typing that in. Where is my to do DB context. Do DB, so I want a DB, yep. To do DB, is that what to do DB? Yep. So to do DB, we just need our, obviously I could go around and change these all in one go, but I've got multiple changes and it can get a bit confusing. Sometimes I went for the camel case, as you can see here. And if we just change all of these, you can see the error count there going low and low from I think 11 or something. Now we're down to 5. And once all those have cleared, we could build and run our API application again. So 3, 2, any more for any more. I missed out a couple. Oops. Last one here. And I think that's it. So save, Control Shift B to rebuild. Build started there, build succeeded, and let's, before we run this, let's see what we expect. Okay, just gonna run that there. And then we can test this out. Now remember guys, while we're on this, I think obviously there's a lot of talk about AI nowadays and vibe coding. Comment below if you are vibe coding, what it is to you, to others, and things like this. So obviously we don't have a root endpoint. I think we could fix that. Just now, so it's saying on root, bring back all to-dos. And yeah, the reason why it won't work is we don't have any items in our to-dos temporary database. So let's do that right away. We could use our API helper again to do a quick post. So if we go in here, where's our post? Here we go. You should still already have this. If you don't, if you go back to the first video, I'll put a link below. Where are we? Below, and you can watch how we do that there. So let's create a pickup bread from the store, and the is complete is false. Let me just double check. Do we still have the same properties? Get complete to do's. Where is complete? Yes, we do. Good, and hit that endpoint there. Boom, and we got 201 our items created. So here's a quick tip, maybe for the less experienced. While you're in this test harness here, the HTTP, before you test your endpoints elsewhere in your application, in your mobile app, in your phone app, in Postman, wherever. Well, this is similar to Postman, but it's quicker. You could just test your endpoints here quickly. If something doesn't work here, it won't work on a different layer. Okay, so your front end guys have built an application, your back end guys have built the back end clients, they're not getting data, there's issues. You do your quick test in here and you could quickly know what's going on. So let's get that item back. There we go. So now if I call this in the browser, I believe we should see this item here. And refresh. Let's see. I hit the right endpoint 7181. I should have done, yes. And root should have really brought that back. Let's put a quick breakpoint. So get all to do's, which is this here. Now, if I hit it in the back end here, we get into a breakpoint. We check our DB database, we look at the to-do list, and we should see there's one to-do item. Results view, there it is there. One false, pick up bread. Okay, follow through, and our items there. Now in the browser, since this is a get, it should really be hitting our endpoint. Let me find out what's going on here. It could be to do with the host address, HTTPS. It should be as well. Yep, HTTPS localhost. Let me flush out the database and memory. Restart application. Nothing there, again, as expected. Let's see there. Okay, it might tell us the URL your URI is trying to hit here. Not in here. Let's continue. Yep, no items there. Let's add this item again. Okay, send it now. Type results. Get the item is there. Continue. Our item is back. If we look at the request, okay, we've missed the resource part of the API's endpoint. So we have local HTTPS localhost port number 7181, and then the resource it's on to do items. And is that what we're seeing here? To do item. This is get all to do's. Okay, see, because we've mapped it as a group, we don't need to do items, because we're not really calling that method name explicitly. It just knows if we're doing a get, it's going to go into this method based on that map group and pluck out the item from the DB. So if we go here back to the browser, in fact, let's copy that. We should see our item in JSON format excuse me, the same way as this. Paste, remove your HTTP data and the version, and just check there's no spaces and hit enter. Now obviously we've got the breakpoint, follow through. Boom, there's our item there in the browser. As you can see, item 1, pick up bread from API store, is complete. Now again, another tip, the pros would already know this. While you're building your API in the backend, you've got the backend developers ready to test data coming in to their clients, whether Node.js, TypeScript, Java, Python, whatever. They might quickly get to that stage and say, we want to pull back an item to construct the client. This is before building the UI, which the front end guys do. So you could quickly put in one item in your in-memory session and tell them we have one item on this API endpoint and URI. And they should be able to pull this. So if they had a field for properties, ID, name, and they could pull this and lay that out nicely. And then, for instance, the front end guys doing work in JavaScript or HTML or XAML, whatever, if it's a mobile app, they could pull this same data as well and map those to the UI. Okay, so if we add another item just to show you, if they say, okay, let's look at a couple to begin with. True pickup tooth. Oh, I can't spell. Toothpaste. Add that as well. Send request. And let's add just one more. Something we really haven't done today. Cook dinner. Because it's still early, and send that. Now if we refresh our endpoint here and follow through, boom, there you go. We have 3 items now, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so that's a quick way to build a fast API with type results to test. So I'm going to stop that there. Yes, so if we remove that breakpoint and see here, again the page is telling us if we had this method called getAllToDos, which takes in the DB instance and context and returns the type result, the 200 result type, or 200 response and status, I should say. We could have a unit called test that verifies the object of type OK is returned from that method. So you could do something like this. Your synchronous task, getAllToDo returns OK, and inside you create your DB context. In that range, you act on that and you call that same API endpoint that we used up there and the result, and then we check what the result was. So this just shows you how quick and clean it is to unit test your code using the our type result as well. So I hope you've enjoyed that session there, and until next time, what we'll look at, we're almost at the end of this page here. We'll look at the prevention of overposting. So by using a DTO to prevent overposting, we hide properties from clients who aren't supposed to view those. We omit some properties to reduce the payload size, which is pretty much the packet that gets sent in requests and responses in APIs and endpoints when systems and people request them. We'll also flatten the object graphs that contain nested objects, which can be more convenient for clients. So we'll look at this code here next time and how to do that. Until then, bye for now. So this just shows you how quick and clean it is to unit test your code using the our type result as well. So I hope you've enjoyed that session there, and until next time, what we'll look at, we're almost at the end of this page here. We'll look at the prevention of overposting. So by using a DTO to prevent overposting, we hide properties from clients who aren't supposed to view those. We omit some properties to reduce the payload size, which is pretty much the packet that gets sent in requests and responses in APIs and endpoints when systems and people request them. We'll also flatten the object graphs that contain nested objects, which can be more convenient for clients. So we'll look at this code here next time and how to do that. So until next time, have a good day. Oh, before I go, make sure you like and subscribe.